of Optic. What do you think SSG needs to do in order to get off on the right foot in this series?
You're right. You can't just start slow. Unfortunately, they are going to be starting this one off on CTF Empyrean, a map they have. I believe the record is 0-2 on CTF Empyrean, going here against Optic, who have just shown they're so strong on this mode.
Yeah.
You're right. Spacestation, they cannot just start off slow. When you look at Arlington, Spacestation, they only lost 8 games the entire tournament. 7 of those 8 games were to Optic Gaming.
Yeah, and
I just feel like this is already looking not great for Spacestation. I'm going to be honest with you.
And then when you looked at that grand final series, to even add on to that stat, Dave, they had to win 3 of the Slayers in a best-of-7 to win the best-of-7. You know what we always talk about as far as the objective team. The team that wins the objectives is usually the better team. Well, SSG somehow managed to win all 3 Slayers in that series to come out with a win in Game 7, but that's not a recipe for success for very long.
And it was not exactly a reverse sweep, but they won 3 of the last 3 games. Right. So, they were down 3-1 in the series to Optic, and they're like, all right, let's step it up. So maybe it is their secret sauce. Somehow they know how to step it up when pressure's really on the line, but do you really need to put that pressure on at this point in the event? You're at the elimination semis. You need to come out hot.
Either somebody for SSG is writing the script in the back and like, let's go down. Let's go down 0-2.
Our socials are going to love this, so we pop back instead of just, clobbering this 3-0.
Let's let the hero fall down before he gets back up. But SSG somehow, it seems to be pretty consistent, honestly, that their ability to, if there's still a game left to be played, they still have a chance. What does that tell you about their championship mentality?
It's got to feel good in that roster then, because even in a time, you and I, Wes, we've been in different teams where there's times you're down 2-0 and you're like, this is not looking good. Yeah, you're like, this is not looking good.
I'm not going to play the ball because I got reservations at Chile.
It's not looking good, but with a squad like this, they've walked the walk. They have been there many a times and proven themselves. And that's the only way you can really truly instill that confidence, is be in a situation where you're down and not out yet, and you come back and win it. And so you just get to have that calmness, knowing that if you have the match go on long enough, your team will slowly catch a stride and come back in the series.
Now let's flip the focus over to the other side of the stage. Optic Gaming. The series with FaZe, so close. They 3-0'd them in Arlington, but this time they got 3-0'd, but the games were just this close, 1 point separating just about every one of those games. The rebound they had against Sentinels, what does that tell you about Optic and how they're feeling coming into this big match?
Yeah, Optic looked strong in their last series. It was kind of the way that they want to, eventually close that out and at least just make it here to Sunday. But it was looking scary for a bit for them. No joke there. Yes, they closed out strong, but at no point were they ever resting or breathing easy.
The way that series against Sentinels gives me hope that they built some momentum, that their heads are in the right space going into Championship Sunday, knowing how close the games were against FaZe. If they had gotten beat down by FaZe, it would have been a different headspace as far as where we actually stand amongst the teams in this tournament this weekend. But knowing that you were just inches away in several games, I think Optic know what they have to do in order to get across the finish line. They still can go on an elimination bracket run that ends in a championship this weekend. As we take a look at both of the coaches, handsome gentlemen, some of your former teammates, I think maybe both. Did you ever team with Elamite?
I did not get the privilege of teaming with Elamite over my career, but I did get to team up with Lunchbox for quite a few events, and that was always a pleasure.
These guys bring so much to the table. Just a former coach myself, and then knowing what those guys know and how good they were in Halo when I've competed against them, I know for a fact the voices that they're able to contribute to their teams, the comms, the spawn points, even like the mentality that they can help change.
It's the in-game knowledge, it's also the out-of-game knowledge. How are you resolving all these friction points that come up during a scrim when one person says they're right, but also the second person also says they're right. But before we go too much on a tangent there, Wes, we are kicking off this game number 1. It's going to be Empyrean CTF, a map and mode that Optic are heavily favored. Can Spacestation take this one away from them?
Ladies and gentlemen, it's still early here in Sunday, but this is game 1 of our championship day in Optic Gaming and SSG, 2 teams you expect to see in the finals, about to go head-to-head for a chance for top 3.
Kills already going out on both sides. Deadzone getting a melee onto Bound. I'm not seeing exactly where those rockets ended up. Wouldn't be surprised if one of those kills got traded out, but it looks like they got to be in the hands of Optic if they're confident enough to push up this far forward.
Yeah, it's Optic Gaming that's taking map control right now. Lucid already into sword. You see the SSG sniper, I believe it's probably StelluR at this point. He's going to be towards the camo side of the map, traditionally behind where Lqgend is. You see him on the first there as Lqgend turns around. Knows that TriPPPeY is up on this ledge, but can't really push because he knows Lucid is still alive with that snipe and sword, and an angle might be had on him if he is to push. I like the slow play by SSG. No real control, but Lucid looks to be a little bit more aggressive than StelluR in these early moments.
Also, one thing I saw over on Lqgend's secondary weapon is that he did have the empty rockets. So despite that flurry of fight back and forth, somehow Lqgend anyway walking away with that rocket and at least keeping Optic at bay.
Yeah, so far a 2-2 split with the kills going on right now. No map control as Lucid rotates towards the sword. He knows his player's coming wrong way, and Lucid wins a big kill onto Lqgend. A 1v1 against Lqgend 1, and that could early set the tone for Optic.
And also look at a situation where there's a fully isolated fight like that. Lucid is not rushing to trade the melee and just trade the kill. If he's in a spot where he realizes he can get that kill and secure it, he will do that. However, you'll see later matches down the road where it's going to be too crazy of a fight that you need to just go in for that melee and get the trade. As I say that, Bound and SSG, they're pushing in and they now have control of the turret of Optic.
Yeah, Bound's going to be such a nuisance in the courtyard here. He's able to play his life, got the Bulldog in his back pocket, lifts up. It was all for dead momentarily for Optic as Bound placed his life in that courtyard situation. You see Optic continuing to try to create some space towards the green hole. Two go down, one player hiding in the flash. Bound, 180. Beat down, Bulldog to the face, able to get the flag out. 4 down for Optic, coming off respawn. Is anyone there for SSG? It's Eco that picks up the flag and puts it on the move.
What a great rotation there from SSG. You saw Bound as soon as those kills started to come in. He left the turret to not block spawns in courtyard, came in to grab the flag, and that's going to be first flag going in for Spacestation Gaming.
And if we were concerned about SSG starting off slow, this is what they needed. They needed to find a way to get the first cap on the board, build some momentum early in this series, and that is just what they have done now. With rockets and overshield coming up, TriPPPeY finds himself the rocket, forced to trade. Bound, aggressive enough to trade with those rockets. Optic Gaming do pick up that second rocket, but StelluR's got the overshield.
And OS going in the hands of StelluR, like you said. This is not looking great for Optic there. TriPPPeY, let's be real, he misexecuted in that rocket there. He should have been able to get away with not taking a death in that situation. But that's tough when you have one of the most aggressive players in the world coming at you like Bound.
Yeah, great play by Bound to trade in that situation, to find a way to deny those rockets from being impactful as StelluR gets the overshield. So you win the battle for the control of the power-ups and power weapons that were coming up. The snipes have come up ever since Informal, who has had a quiet game so far, looks to be aggressive in sword.
Yeah, and just gonna try to post up here, get these slaves. It feels like the favorability from both these team sides is take over the turret, take over the snipe/sword side of the map, get the slays, and then you push in and run towards green/hall. However, when we were watching Optic earlier, I believe it was Friday, we saw them trying to run some bridge/snipe side flag runs. They were ineffective when we saw those.
SSG have been running the flag towards the courtyard so often, I feel like, early on in 2024. You can see that a lot of our North American top teams do. We've also seen success from the camo greens traditionally throughout this tournament. But right now, Formal is going to put the snipe away. He's the last player alive. He wins his PIV. He's able to hit the first shot. Outplays the two players from SSG, the no-scope melee, as he catches that Space Station player off guard, creates so much pressure released for Optic Gaming here. He gets finally taken down, but his damage done there does so much for Optic's defense.
Yeah, let's be real. That stopped a flag cap.
Yeah.
If Formal dies there without taking anyone down with him, SSG are flying in, and that flag's already halfway through hallway. That double kill stopped a flag.
Still Lqgend in your base, so still more work to do for Optic. They do find 2 kills in the kill feed as Lqgend, losing his teammates, is behind enemy lines. TriPPPeY's gonna know he's here somehow. But Lqgend gets the better of TriPPPeY. Perfect shots and a killing spree before he's taken down.
Deadzone, seeing what he can do to take up a little bit more ground here. It's felt like every single time Space Station has been the only one with real opportunities to get any flag pulls. We have yet to see Optic really get past like that 75% mark.
Yeah, we haven't seen Optic at SSG's base at all so far, but that could all change. Rockets are coming up, and 3 members of Optic Gaming find themselves in the green hall. Formal's going to be able to get the rockets, and TriPPPeY pushes up. Formal finds the first kill with the rocket. 2 down for SSG, and this is the best position Optic have seen so far in game 1.
Now Formal has to hit these shots. He's opted to go with double power weapon here. rockets, and snipe. But in order to do that, you literally just have to get the kill. There's no middle ground. You're not just getting someone 1 or 2 shots in them and distracting them. You're either taking them down to no shield / kill, or you're doing nothing.
TriPPPeY goes down in the base of Spacestation. The flag not on the move any longer. Formal can't push until the rest of Optic Gaming are here. 2 are down. That flag's still on the plat. Make it 3 down. Optic Gaming may be able to get a touch on this flag and get it on the move.
I like this aggression Formal. Trying to shoot over towards turret here. It's fine if they get a new pull, but the more time they give here, the more opportunity Spacestation has to get a pick. Somehow they execute perfectly. Lucid kills Eco. Formal took down Lqgend.
3.
TriPPPeY taking down Bound. 3 down. Last one standing there was StelluR over on that side, and Deadzone going to be bringing the flag, but no! Eco somehow gets the pick and runs all the way towards Needler Pit.
What did StelluR just do? Last minute wide, somehow finds himself a double kill. You want to talk about Formal stopping the cap earlier? StelluR stops that cap by himself, buys enough time for the respawners of SSG to get the return.
And look at this heads-up awareness, too, from Eco we saw. Instantly looking over for someone pushing towards his court, setting up a brand new push. Most people will be tunnel vision, just saying, all right, we need to go worry about Hall, worry about this recovery. Always one step ahead these pro players are.
Lucid's got himself the second S7 of the day. The first one had minor success, but no control for Optic was gained as Lucid had that snipe. He can't quite find an angle so far in this sword area. You'd like to see him rotate towards the camo side of the map as he's not being given really any opportunity to impact the outcome of this game right now. He is going to pick up the Bulldog as his back pocket. Expects SSG to push into sword. Let's see if that's going to be the case.
5 minutes
Interesting. I feel like I've seen him hold this angle quite a few times all the way in back computers with just Bulldog out, rather than first trying to look out towards sword side. I wonder what the reason is for that. Maybe he just doesn't want to give up too much damage beforehand, but StelluR doesn't matter. Spots him for a quick second, takes out the sniper on Optic side, and now looking for this players lurking below him.
Such a frustrating game from Lucid's point of view so far. No real opportunity to impact any of the combat loop that's going on. And the second you peek your head out and you think things are clear, StelluR rips your head off. StelluR with the snipe down, S1, spots Formal, who's picked up that snipe that Lucid went down with. StelluR can't hit the shot. He's got 1 left in the chamber. One rocket left in the chamber for TriPPPeY. He puts it to use, gives his team a man advantage, but overchows in green by himself, and TriPPPeY's going to pave with that overchow with his life, and those rockets don't transition into any control once again.
No, those are the moments that if you're an Optic fan, you're hoping that they're able to take those rockets, roll into a couple kills, and to a potential flag pull. But now they're going to have to do this without those weapons. Instead, it's going to be all bandits, all potentially a couple bullets of sniper to somehow get this control. And now with TriPPPeY and Lucid both falling, you're not going to really see any sort of flag attempt from the Optic side, at least for another 30 seconds.
Optic were just 3 down. Deadzone was the last player alive, and somehow Lqgend across the map is in the base of Optic pulling the flag. Pay attention to Slice right now. 2 are going in the favor of SSG. The flag is going through camo, and Bound is going to hit a slide. You'd think he misses the slide because he paid for it with his life. Because he misses the G slide, he doesn't make it across to the plat. He gets taken down. Can Optic Gaming get the return? 3 down now. StelluR creating some space.
StelluR doing the perfect play here. Some might be wondering why he didn't go straight for that flag. He wanted to just go for some plays, go for some space, create an opportunity for one of his teammates to grab the flag. Can Bound grab it? Eco goes for it. Bound gets his second opportunity. Yep, he puts it in.
What a play by StelluR once again. The superstar himself ignores the objective, gets 2 kills, and because of it, SSG take a significant 2-0 lead, and now less than 3 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, I think there's just such a important fundamental piece of Halo strategy in there. It's just that creating space. It's you aren't just going directly to that objective, whether it's a flag or whether it's a rocket or sniper. You're pushing beyond that. You're creating space and safety around that objective so your teammate can acquire it.
And to have the composure to understand the decision-making to get that done in that moment, StelluR is an absolute MVP for a reason. Lqgend right now in Optic space, up 2-0 with the snipe in hand, gets the first kill S1 as that flag still neutralized in that S1 position. Optic are on the brink of losing game 1. 3 go down as Lqgend hits a quick scope on the body of a player at bottom. Snipe that was all 4 down. 2 players have had time to come up, but Lqgend continuing to be a nuisance in the courtyard. Lifts up, takes down TriPPPeY. Has 9 men on the knee. A double, a body shot, You want some more? He says as he chows, no shield. Optic Gaming play their life, but Lqgend goes on an absolute tear to buy so much time off the clock.
Flag recovered, but damage has been done. That clock is working against Optic right here. It was tough enough for them to get one cap. Well, Wes, they need to get a dub cap here at some point. They need to get enough control and try to rally these back-to-back. It's going to be tough against a squad like Spacestation. They aren't going to give up these easy kills. They will give up a cap if they need to, but they will not give up control of their base.
They're getting a pull right now, but they lose 3 members. TriPPPeY, the last player alive, I believe, he's pulling the flag. He's going to have to drop it and try and slay. He's getting surrounded. SSG know exactly where he is, and they are focused on taking TriPPPeY down. It's going to be Eco that does it. Lqgend doesn't even want this flag on his cuts, he says it. Go back to the base. 1:09 on the clock now, and SSG get a fresh round of slays.
And you'll notice, too, even these top players, you've noticed this even yesterday on Aquarius flag, where some players, they'll return the flag about 90% of the way and say, I'm sprinting off now because I want that extra second of action on the map or distance on the map.
Yeah, min-maxing the pressure that they're applying, as well as weighing, can they actually get a touch on this? Players coming through green. Lqgend finds one and an assist as well. One more player to deal with in green, and the rest of SSG are showing up to take him down. Lqgend wins the melee battle onto 4 and 3 go down for Optic with 30 seconds left. Surely SSG have found a way to win game 1.
Yeah, there's really no way for Optic this one. They're going to kind of slay it out here for this next 25 seconds. Some might not even be slaying it out. Some might just be holding still for a moment. But looks like they're letting Lqgend pull that flag, or Bound pull that flag. And this one's shortly over. Right now, there's no way for Optic to come back in this game. And they're just going to be looking forward to game number 2.
And if we take a look at the stats quickly as the game starts to end, it's Lqgend himself at 27, 12, and 14 to give SSG some much needed early momentum in this series.
That's a massive victory there for SSG, because keep in mind, Optic Gaming, they were 3-0 in Empyrean CTF here in 2024, whereas Space Station, they were 1-2. Taking that first win is massive. You cannot understate how big of a tone setter and pace setter that is for this series.
And now the scary thing is the rest of the teams are probably watching this series go on is SSG should have been out of the tournament arguably yesterday. Quadrant not able to close the door, and then now all of a sudden is SSG starting to wake up. Are we going to have to go through this again, where these guys have that one special Sunday again to claim a championship? Because if this is the start to a special run, Lqgend and the boys are fired up. You can tell in just this first game.
Yeah, let's be real. It wasn't just Quadrant fans cheering for Quadrant to win yesterday.
It was FaZe
and Optic fans, Rebellion fans. They were just all like, you know what, get them out, please.
It's that Power Rangers meme, or whatever it is, Captain Planet, when they all have their hands in the middle. Everybody wants SSG out because they know how good this team is when they find their form, and we haven't seen it all weekend. It's not, I can't say it's there yet, but it's
looking kind of scary already. I mean, you have Lqgend dropping numbers like that, drop 27 kills and 14 deaths in game number 1 against Optic. Like, there's some signs, and it's the signs are pointing to some SSG success today.
All right, SSG fans in the crowd, you hear the drums going off, the jerseys are out for Championship Sunday, and you know the SSG fans here are so ecstatic to see their team up 1-0 in a series. And it was off the back of a legendary performance from Lqgend himself on Empyrean CTF. But let's shift our focus to game 2, where SSG had their bread and butter in that grand finals of Arlington. The Slayers are what they were the best at in Arlington. And Solitude Slayer, a game that can get out of control very quickly. Optic, a team that has needed momentum in a lot of series so far this weekend. It's now or never for them in this game 2.
Yeah, and both teams are solid when it comes to this in the small amount of stats we have. It's 2-0 for SSG on Solitude Slayer, whereas Optic are 2-1. But the way that we're just seeing SSG play there, I mean, we're going to have to see Optic change something a bit, hopefully turn it around. Otherwise, I could see SSG just rolling this one through as well. I was more worried about game number 1 just being a Optic stomp, and to see Optic lose a game that I thought was for certain going in their favor is difficult.
Yeah, absolutely, because of how strong of a team they are, you know that this might not be Optic's bread and butter, and they know how much, in their heads right now, they are thinking about how much they struggled in the Slayers in that grand finals. Optic need to get off to a hot start. The camo is going to be top middle, and it's so important to try and get this early lead in Solitude because this is one of our highest snowball maps. And Formal starts it off with a great kill on the Legend to give Optic some much needed momentum.
Yeah, there goes the second kill on the bound. So Optic getting a strong start, but that shock rifle in the hands of StelluR, and that's going to be 2 going down for Optic. Can they pick off StelluR here? They're going to have to hunt him down, and not enough. TriPPPeY dying as he tries to hunt down StelluR.
Somehow Optic not able to get the camo after those first 2 kills went in their favor. StelluR starting to pop off with the shock rifle. We've seen this movie so many times, and it is an electric factory with the shock rifle in StelluR's hands. Right now, Optic trying to push outside of this loop area, and they're getting taken down by the teamwork of SSG yet again.
And this is so tough sometimes to isolate StelluR and this SSG crew when they have this weapon. There's so many times where he's just going to rotate on over with it, and
TriPPPeY!
It feels like you're in a rock or a hard spot. It's either, all right, do I charge across the map and try to cut off StelluR, who has this weapon, or is this going to be the time that he holds his ground and he just snipes me across the map?
Big game TriPPPeY somehow finds at the camo. He is by far my favorite player to watch with the camouflage in the HCS. He finds 2 perfect kills to take down 2 members of SSG, give his team the lead, but not only that, get the shock rifle out of StelluR's hands.
But the damage has been done. It's now still a 2-kill lead here for Optic. But that was starting to look scary as StelluR and crew rolled that back from the beginning. Now, Wes, do you have a side of this map that you prefer in this neutral scenario? This game has actually slowed down for the first time. I don't know if we've seen a slow pace of this game throughout this entire series yet.
You always want to control the inside of the map, and that's like the snipe area side of the map, and trap them in yard. But as camo comes up, you are forced to take open positions. So it's kind of a rotating setup depending on what's coming up. Right now, you're seeing how Optic had the favorable inside of the map, and they were able to collapse into yard. It's now 13-9 as the second camouflage just came up. TriPPPeY can't finish Eco. In the meantime, Deadzone is going to be able to get this camo, though. He can capitalize here. He can catch SSG off guard. He's able to get a kill and an assist. Great damage on the bound, finishes bound, and Deadzone with the camo has extended the lead to 6.
Deadzone behind enemy lines, or should I say behind former teammate lines there as he flanks his former squad mates over at the stairs, getting his team now the 6-kill lead. Once again, securing the kill onto Eco. Challenging Bound. Bound just runs a loop, and there's going to be nowhere he can go.
As this push from Optic goes on the loop, they're going to get a couple of kills. I want to go into an Optic listen in to see the comms from the green wall and how they've rebounded so far after the game 1 loss.
Tram. You guys come out.
Jumping glass.
Coming driveway. Watch out, watch out.
Shock is up,
Top
guys.
go down, top go down, weak. Watch out, yard, watch out, yard.
Try and live, guys.
Oh, we gotta live here.
LR killing me.
Yo, I'm S4, hold blue. Yeah. Not seeing blue. Hitting flower door now.
Okay. Trying to look at it.
Got one.
Nice.
Top side.
Coming down. He's big. One shot. Absolute snipe.
Flower door.
Blue truck going top dip.
Two shot.
Top dip and top mid. Yo, go forward yard. I spawn tram, man. I spawn tram. You come here. Go doing. They have shocks, right?
Both hiding around.
Try RBR. There's no one there. Do one shot tram. Try and live. Three tram.
Go stand quick.
One that glass. Posters.
He was benches or S4.
He went S4 probably.
Posters on that. LR hall. They're both there.
Camo's coming up.
Stay alive. Yeah.
I know.
I'm gonna play for camo here. Go flash right now, shooting me. Go for this.
Weak glass.
3 shots flash.
Got one.
Nice.
Camo's still up, guys.
Watch out.
Dip weak and one shot though. Gonna be on camo probably.
We turn one shot.
Hotel. Two dead, guys.
Camo.
Might be on
Two
this.
dead.
Dip. Top dip, one shot.
Little frustration in the comms of Optic right there. A couple of kills not being able to be cleaned up. The teamwork maybe not as strong as we're traditionally able to see. You can see so much damage output from Penguin, from Formal, but these kills that are getting away from them aren't necessarily losing them the game yet with this 4-kill lead, but it's a frustration that I heard in the voice, Dave. What was your opinion on the list?
Yeah, I agree with that as well, and I think that my takeaway is it felt like there's some layers of overcomplication to call outs, where there's 3 at tram and maybe we need to rotate and do this. Instead, it felt like they almost had to over-explain certain things that should be very straightforward, in my opinion, or something that should be a bit more practice. So yeah, I don't know exactly what to take away from it, but I felt like there's sometimes too many words and strategies coming through, or asking for too much help. Like even Formal's like, someone look here, someone give me this eyes here. It's like, does he know where his help is, or does he have the help that he needs in the position that he's at?
Yeah, but still with the lead, so still in a comfortable place. Maybe a little frustration after the way game 1 went, knowing how strong of an Empyrean CTF team they are, but even with that, Optic are up 6. 40-35, make it 41. They are 3 down. This is a pivotal moment. 20 seconds for Camo to come up. Lucid's on the inside of the map, and he has a massive responsibility to try and keep some map control because the rest of Optic are spawning towards Yard.
Yeah, but he has bought the time. Deadzone has the flank. There's going to be the kill going on to Lqgend. Shock Rifle and Camo coming up here first. We're going to have to see which one they decide to go for. And it looks like Lqgend somehow spawning. Must have spawned over at Hotel or bottom left, but that's going to be Shock Rifle for Formal. And at this point, Spacestation, they can't just go straight for this Camo. They can't give them any more free kills.
Well, Bam actually goes straight for the Camo. Sorry about that one, Dave. But Formal makes it 46. This has to be a special Camo play from Bound if SSG want any chance to come back in this game. He can't quite finish these players this night, and there's 2 players blue ramp. He's getting sandwiched, but it's the SSG reinforcements are here. 3 down go Optic. Make it all 4 down as Lucid gets hunted in the back of Hotel. 46-42, a 4-kill game, and Bound is starting to take space with this Camo once again.
You know, Bound somehow seen an opportunity that I don't see. If I know a Shock Rifle player's over top snipe, I feel like that Camo's going to be tough to grab, but Bound realizes you need to make a big play to come back in this game number 2.
Oh, wow, Lucid, that was special. No shield, no problem. He's able to hit the nade and get the kill, and now pushes Optic's score 49-45. 1 kill needed to tie this series up.
Where is it going to come from? You know the action coming over at Market, also at Truck.
5.
Formal just going to laser in and for that person across the map.
Formal himself ends this game for Optic's favor, and any frustration from game 1 should be removed. Maybe we're not playing perfect, but we are playing good enough to extend this series to where we can find our groove. It is still early here on Sunday, and both these 2 teams trying to find that rhythm, knowing how long that journey to the grand finals is. You got to worry about the team in front of you, but you want to feel like you are playing your best, and it feels like the longer this series goes on, these players will continue to warm up and eventually play at the highest level we know they're capable of.
Yeah, and also the longer the series goes on, the more incorrect I apparently am, as I'm just like, hey, Optic are going to probably win game 1. You're going to see Slayers go for in favor of SSG, and then, of course, no one from SSG will grab this Camo, and I could not be more wrong here, Wes.
Well, that's the thing about these top teams, SSG, Optic, FaZe, when you look at all these different games, how close these games are. And when you're trying to break down stats, it's like, yeah, Optic are favored in Empyrean CTF, but SSG can beat them.
It's SSG, yeah. It's like these teams aren't bad at these. Yeah. There's nothing that they're bad at. Now there's things that they're going to be favored or slightly advantageous against other teams in specific matchups, but there's nothing they're bad at. They can win at literally any one of these modes at any time against literally any team, especially when you're an SSG or an Optic.
Yeah, I say it all the time. There are 12 players across those 3 teams that can literally change the outcome of any game in any series against any team if they so choose to just step up and have that moment be theirs. It's no surprise when these players have these special games. Taking a look at the King of the Hill stats as we focus on, I believe it's Live Fire King of the Hill for game 3, an 8-1 record for Optic Gaming, and the Green Wall now with a tied series has the biggest smile on their faces going into this one.
You know they're feeling good going into this, but also Empyrean Flag, they probably were feeling fairly confident going into looking at the numbers.
Fair enough.
Nothing to take for granted, especially against these 2 squads. So Optic feeling good, but they just know they have to treat it as business as usual, go in, play their game.
I wouldn't be surprised if this series continues to extend. If the listen-in was a little bit different after now the series is tied up rather than they feel like they're down in the series and they know how big this moment is. They know that they cannot afford to go down 0-2 in the series, so they tied it up. that frustration that we heard in the communication, in the listening, probably a little different going into game 3.
Take a quick look at these stats, though. It might look good that you see TriPPPeY with 46% of team hill time. I also look at that as kind of a detriment. You almost don't want to be relying that much on one player to get that much objective.
But let me tell you what that is as this game 3 is underway. That could tell you that when Optic get a setup, they get the entire hill. And it's just that same player in the hill at all times, right? So just because it's a significant, and King of the Hill specifically.
Yeah, you're not just holding, you can't shoot like an oddball or a flag.
He's still useful, and look at TriPPPeY, still in the hill, continuing to push that 46 number up in his advantage. Already a third of this hill in Optic's favor because TriPPPeY focused on the objective has given early progression to Optic Gaming.
Well, I guess no surprise as to how TriPPPeY gets 46% of the time for his team as he has that first hill
about 46%.
halfway capped.
That's
looking at exactly 46.1% right there. All right.
TriPPPeY's like, I did my part on this hill. You guys did the rest. Lucid's got the snipe, and he says, I'm not getting the hill. I'm doing work as he finds 2 assists. Deadzone and Form will pick up those kills.
Oh,
Lucid says, I'm going to kill myself. TriPPPeY, get back in the hill for me, bud.
And just like that, pushing all the way towards Nest, making sure they block some locations over here, gets the angles on bags, knows that he's being heavily contested here, has 2 bullets and doesn't want this to go in their hands. He's going to shoot the last bullet prematurely just to make sure it does not go into Spacestation to be that tide-changing kill.
Deadzone with a big kill to get bound out of that hill. All 4 down for SSG momentarily as it's going to be Lqgend that's hitting the bridge. He's by himself as SSG comes off respawn. They should be towards the tower side, but here come Optic out of the big door. TriPPPeY goes down once again towards that hill. It's almost about an even hill right now between the 2. These slays could mean everything as Optic go 3 down. 2 members of SSG to deal with, and Bound eliminates Deadzone as well.
Yeah, these slays are all that matter right now. You need the control to be able to grab this hill. Right here, Eco doesn't feel fully comfortable to step in with his teammate and get that angle. He knows someone can come through the garage, and there it is. Garage push coming through by Formal. Gets taken out, and now Eco trying to hide as he is under fire from a couple members from Optic, but kills going in his team's favor.
Oh,
somehow teleports back as he got repulsed almost off the map. You know he was celebrating maybe a bit more prematurely there, assuming he got mind the gap.
Looking like Dr. Strange out there as he's able to get back into the portal and pop right back onto the map. What was Optic Gaming thinking they were going to even out the man advantage? Spacestation are able to get the advantage there, but they're still losing the battle for the hill. This hill, such a frustrating hill to deal with, so close between these 2 teams. StelluR able to get feed in right before Optic scored this point. These slays are everything, and Lqgend gives everything to SSG as he jumps in the hill to score the point. It couldn't have been any closer.
Eco, the last one alive, trying just to get some better position over at tower, and somehow they also have the stronger position for this C-plat hill. Deadzone, though, has camo. What can he do with this power-up?
Lqgend trying to make a play here. He's knocked down to no shield. He's going to lose 2 teammates. Lqgend
He needs to get off that body, first off.
Yeah, Lqgend able to pick up a kill in the kill feed, and it's early progression for SSG. I actually want to go into an SSG listening and hear their comms as Deadzone gets ripped away with this camo, and SSG are in control.
Come in, bound. Guy nest.
Watch the vent. Watch the vent. Absolute vent. Absolute in the vent. Maybe let's. Give me cuts. I'll give me cuts. Yeah, in the vent. Watch it. Watch it. Watch it. Cuts. Spawn green. Watch it. Tap in. Yeah.
Close on me. Watch out.
Good nest.
Watch out. Mid cut going. Mid cut.
Alright, QT and 7. We need to try to live here.
Go mud. Bound. Go mud. Look at our time here. We have a lot of time. You guy nest. And guy dice.
Dice, Rick. T is up.
I'm through. Big dice.
I'm getting sniped. I got sniped. Tower sniping. They don't know Bound's there. If we can dice Bound. Dice other guy, I think.
Watch out now. Be on the base. Bend the dice.
Tuck green.
Still in the hill.
We have to
Tower
run.
weak.
We're good. It's dice to Sean. He's in the
Nice, Rick.
Come on, green.
Head. Top tower weak. Tower sniping.
Up tower.
Top tower weak. Top tower.
Rick, top tower.
Guy dummy above me.
Yes, a red post, bro. Careful.
One shot. Bottom mid. One shot. Bottom mid. Only one guy snipe. Only one guy tower. Watch out. Only one guy tower. Mid cut. Bound. You have to live. They're gonna be to your left.
Top in, top A.
Why weak?
T-shirt.
Tap in, two guys tap in.
Watch your cuts.
There's a guy nest.
In the vent.
Nice, Rick. Nice, Rick.
Watch out nest.
Watch out nest. And dummies are
Training as well, Kevin.
Training.
Hill.
One is dummies.
Watching your damage.
Camo in 10. Camo in 10.
We should get that. We should get that. Just stay in the hill. We're missing one. We're missing one.
He took white wall.
Great quantum plays by StelluR give SSG an opportunity to take a 2-0 lead here in this game 3. TriPPPeY and Lucid putting pressure onto this new camo that's just come up, but Spacestation will take the hill. Optic play for the camo and are unable to get SSG out of that hill before going down now 2-0. SSG pick up 2 big kills, but I believe TriPPPeY has made his way to the camo, gotten out successfully, but SSG, here they come.
Now what we need to see out of the camo play is a very meaningful swing. It can't just be a slay or 2 and just die. TriPPPeY desperately trying to buy time there. Great job to get that back up from Lucid after his respawn. But here's where we could actually see a bit of a shift for Optic. They have the first half of this hill. They still have a little bit of camo, and they're in great position.
2 minutes and 34 seconds on the clock. Might not sound important at this moment, but if SSG get this 3rd point, this game will be over due to time becoming such a win condition in their favor. Optic need to hold this one down perfectly. They're doing so right now. They find a couple of kills themselves. TriPPPeY still with his life from that camo, able to do max damage before getting taken down. 3 down, making 4 down for SSG as Lucid has repulsed, snipe top mid. This is Optic Gaming's moment.
Optic couldn't have done that any better on that 3rd hill. Securing the camo, securing the garage, doing everything right, and on top of that, Lucid still has the sniper. And it looks like they must have a good spawn trap, because I don't feel like Lucid would be looking for that angle unless he felt like they were over at garage. But it looks like there was just a lot of uncertainty of where SSG were at.
Yeah.
Maybe not enough information or callouts or eyes on the map from Optic.
Yeah, you want Lucid with this snipe to be the spear, or the head of that spear, but unfortunately, it was a flank from SSG that they did not read correctly, and because of it, they have gotten Optic out of this hill. Right now, it is going to be a man advantage for Optic Gaming. The control of the snipe still in Lucid's hands. He needs to hit a shot. He pulls to set StelluR up for the pigeon fodder. It can't come through, and Lucid goes down. 3 go down for Optic Gaming. SSG have broken this setup. Still plenty of time on this clock, but Optic Gaming have got to break this setup. It is a very difficult one to break, especially when you give snipe to someone like Lqgend.
Yeah, and SSG, there's too much time on the clock for them to try to slay this out. They are going to put some pressure on the objective, see if they can get that 3rd cap as their win condition.
Lqgend, the last player alive, we saw him go down. He respawns back green, and they're going to be able to take down Eco, respawning Victor. Formal says, I'll do it myself. The hill, the snipe, the first kill to give his team man advantage, and now Lqgend surely doesn't take down Formal here. He's got Formal not to no shield. The rest of Optic Gaming do not appear to be near this hill, so Formal trying to stay alive, making him overextend there, Dave, was such an important piece to how Optic control this hill still.
And that's a perfect example of how you can use opposing resources even when you're one-shot in a situation like that. Whether it's the opponent looking at you for 2 or 3 seconds. In a best-case scenario, they're swinging so far wide right on you that teammate can backsmack them. But even when you can take away a grenade, no longer do they have that resource. You saw a missed grenade here, even at the highest level. There's some tricky hills and geometry there on that ground over in the mud.
Unbelievable job to min-max the damage it was going to take, the focus it was going to take him down. And because of that, Optic now back in the hill. Lucid was able to control top tower and defend it from Lqgend. Because of it, Optic now tied this game up. They were down 0-2, now tied 2-2. SSG need to respond here, and Lucid's not going to let that happen easy.
Lucid, knowing someone has to be roaming around here at the top tower, finds Lqgend, gets him to 1 shot, gets the finish somehow, despite getting shot in the side all the way over at Silo. And during this time, Deadzone scooping up a little bit of time in the hill, earning himself a killing spree.
Yeah, Deadzone with the killing spree is massive. And somehow, I just want to make it a point, my green gun does not work like Lucid's does. He's the best green gun player in the game. Mine always misses. I need to get some lessons or something from the kid because he's so impactful with every weapon in the sandbox. As I say that, 3 go down for SSG. TriPPPeY saying, I'm going to get this 46%. I'm also going to get the snipe. He's got snipe and hill and a ton of progression for Optic right now. And this top mid hill is surely Optic's to lose.
Such a good play there, too. Not even wait until he met resistance. Decides to run out of the vent and run away, but bound. Gets the kill on to TriPPPeY. Gets that sniper out of their hands. That was going to be a huge key to victory here for Optic, to keep them at bay and not let Spacestation get back in the top center hill.
Optic was such a major progression difference in this 5th hill cannot lose this hill. This is everything with 55 seconds left on the clock, but SSG starting to pick up the sway has got to make you wonder, do they have what it takes to tie this hill up, to score it in their advantage? Optic are going to be able to flush SSG out though. Deadzone strafing in the hole, able to do max damage before getting taken down. StelluR's forced to drop down bottom middle. Optic are going to be up top. You're going to see Lucid and StelluR duel it out in the dummy door, and it's Lucid that comes out on top. Bound getting kills, but the kills don't matter. The hill is what matters right now. Eco gets steps in the hill. Eco with camo now in the hill, trying to play his life, but Optic get the grenade.
Oh my.
Get the hill.
Spacestation, they had the ingredients, they had the right positioning. You would rather take tower in that situation, but Optic being absolutely relentless, being so difficult, whether they jump in towards the vent side or just out of sight of the tower, and just scrapping up a little bit of time by little bit of time. Now they have no choice but to commit towards this green hill, and Lqgend, despite being the last one alive, really has to just fight his way out.
Good early progression for SSG. Time is going to start to become a factor. 34 seconds and counting. Bound back in the hill will freeze the time for now. It's almost over 50%. Optic 3 down. They need to break this hill if they want to win this game. SSG need a perfect setup here because 30 seconds will fly by if they all 4 go down.
We've talked about teams that shine when their backs are against the wall, and that is Spacestation right now. They are looking good into this green hill. It's a 2-on-2. This 2-on-2 could decide this game number 3. Who comes out ahead here? Because Optic get the kills and get control. They can keep Spacestation out for 25 seconds. It looks like StelluR and Bound win the 2v2. StelluR grabbing up these last few seconds. We got ourselves a tie game.
It's a perfect hold for SSG. They were able to keep the time on the clock, and now it's sudden death. First to 4. 18 seconds don't matter. We'll see that clock reset, and this hill is everything. 4 down for SSG. The rotation to the 7th hill is perfect by Optic. Let's see if they can hold.
TriPPPeY, I love this rotation. Just realized he can get out of sight of the garage for that quick second. Jumps up into Nest, and he's just delaying. Doing some damage over here to these players at Spacestation, but somehow across the map, SSG still getting kills.
But they've lost tower. SSG have taken over the tower control. Lucid made his way towards Snipe, and SSG flanks around dummy side. 2 members to deal with. Lucid hits the body onto StelluR. The body onto Eco, potentially. Can't tell if he hit it, but nobody there to finish the kill onto Eco anyways. Bound does get finished, and that's the pick. That's the pick that Optic wanted. They're pushing front tower now. Lucid gonna try and play his life. Looking to relocate top middle. I think he's got to make a play for camo, but there's still one player from SSG Lucid forgot about, as that player, back tower, takes down multiple players on his team. Bound with the camo, a little greedy, tries to go all the way towards dummies, and Lucid catches him, makes him burn the camo just in time.
I couldn't tell if that got burned or not over at the dummy door. It did. Lqgend, last bullet with a snipe. What can he do with it? His team has done such a good job of controlling these spawns. Throughout these last 45 seconds or so, Spacestation have undoubtedly had the better positions, whether this over at dummies or whether you're just hitting your last bullet with a snipe.
What can Lqgend do with the last bullet? He rips the head off. TriPPPeY coming out of cuts. Formal able to trade it out, but it's SSG with man advantage, feet in the hill, and Optic Gaming will have one push coming off respawn here to say if anything about game 3.
And Bound being the biggest distractor. Do Optic go back and clear him out of bags, or does Bound do the greatest rotation of all time? He runs through bottom. Is it too late though? His teammates were left to drive for a moment, and that's gonna be 3 down for SSG. Optic jumping inside the hill. TriPPPeY trying to find where these players are at. They know the push is coming from Green and Nest, but can they stop it?
Optic's push, the last one of this game, was phenomenal. Now SSG have one push. 2 kills in Optic's favor. TriPPPeY defending this hill. All of Optic swarming the hill. They get killed. They get the point. They take game 3, and Optic takes the lead in the elimination bracket semifinals, 2-1.
The games don't get much closer than that, Clutch. Started off with a nail biter of a hill over in green. Ended with both teams in OT fighting for their lives.
What an unbelievable, pivotal game in this series that we will remember if Optic go on to win this series. SSG will be kicking themselves for how that game went with all the work they did. They take a 2-0 lead. Optic battle back to tie it up. The Optic even take the lead, 3-2. It's a perfect hold at green, and then SSG get the early progression on that 7th hill. You called it out while it was happening. Bound gets caught in no man's land. He was so far progressed. SSG had this strategy on a lot of game types where they like to always apply pressure to respawners, and Bound was that player in that moment. But was he too far overextended? Because Optic were able to flush out his team before he impacted the combat loop, and that might have been the damning moment.
It could have been. I mean, you did see him rotate so fast after, but that's one of the beauties of how Bound is so effective in many other cases. He's that thorn in the side. As the team has to decide, do they push towards that objective, or do they worry about Bound and fight Bound? And right there, it kind of felt like they had to worry about Bound when he was up high in the garage. The second that he rotated low, it felt like he was out of the fight. And so you almost have to wonder, does Bound go towards top center, and does he get picked off if he goes there? Or is he just too far out of the fight throughout that entire time?
Such a difficult position for him to read in that moment, but you can guarantee if we could ask him in this very tournament, if he would have that moment back, would he do something different? I guarantee you the answer would be yes. But
yeah,
no,
he would have charged across top would be his answer there if he was in that position in the future.
Absolutely, and honestly,
but it's tough to say.
Honestly,
so tough to know what to do there.
We saw Lucid did the same thing earlier on in that hill. Game 4 is going to be oddball. Optic has been the best oddball team this tournament, in my opinion. The rotations, their ability to deny oddball time when they are down man advantage is unbelievable. And on an elimination game for SSG, you saw how strong both those two teams were at this. What are we looking for early on in this game to see this series go Game 5?
I mean, what we're looking early on is who's getting those slays in control. Yes, we've seen some scrappy plays from time to time, and you will see that from both these squads, getting a rotate or a play ball in certain situations here on oddball. However, it's going to be who gets those first 2 opening kills and gets control around, and then who gets that 20 or 30-second chunk of time.
My player to watch going into this Game 4 is going to be TriPPPeY. Maybe not statistically the biggest game in Game 3, but his ability and his prowess to always prioritize these power-ups. On a map like Recharge, the damage you can do when you get that camo, you can change the outcome of games, and big game TriPPPeY is who we're kicking it off with, but Bound is the first to strike blood.
That's going to be 2 going down for Optic. This should be a camo going in the hands of SSG, and it's Bound. Let's see what he does with this one. Is he going to secure gold in a kill, or is he going to try to get this ball closer to his teammates?
Let's see how Bound rebounds here in Game 4. Brink of elimination's got the first power-up in his hands. A lot of pressure from players spawning towards the elevator, but with 2 down, you want to try and get that ball in hand. He's got a teammate there to do so, and he's able to take down Deadzone. It's a full, clean team wipe of Optic as SSG take early control.
Like this play, he's not going for anything too fancy. He's not going to try to go for some sort of back smack. He realizes players are jumping up towards top gold. At this high level of play, if you get that early grenade lead or a couple shot advantage, you need to do that damage.
A perfect round of slays. Once again, last player alive is red stairs, but Deadzone actually gets the better of Lqgend. Last player alive getting a kill is always such a big, pivotal moment traditionally because it allows your respawners to deal with a much less strong setup as far as this SSG setup is concerned, but it's a 32-point setup at the very least as Optic try to push here now.
Formal, realizing someone's still elevator, and here he just skips past that player. This is how you have to deal with certain flankers. Flankers in a game either need to be a free kill, you need to quickly take them down, or you need to try to out-rotate them and quickly get in the fight where you have a man advantage in the greater fight.
Yeah, Formal actually getting behind enemy lines there, able to get a double kill there with the green gun and get the ball out of Spacestation's hands. It's a 36-point head start for SSG here in round 1.
Lucid just laying down those shots cross map, trusting that his teammates and pipes are going to get the job done and trying to get the spawn trap. I believe he was waiting to see when that person spawned and then looked at long haul. Must still be assuming that they're going there and now realize that the spawns are outside. It's going to be on over towards elevator.
We've seen big games across a lot of players in this series. I'm expecting Lucid to have at least one here. Is this the game to close the door on SSG? Formal now with the second camo of the game and shock rifle in hand. We've seen this as well. He can do so much damage, but the first shot just reveals himself as he misses the shot onto Bound. He's able to get some damage that allows TriPPPeY to pick up the kill. Now Optic Gaming setup just as strong as SSG's as they are going to take the lead here momentarily.
Yeah, 2 points away, going for Optic as a tie at the moment. One concern I have, though, is even though they have the ball, I don't feel like Optic have the presence they need across the center of the map. There's many times when you have ball and pipes and you have people over towards Bat Ledge or Needler and all these really commanding positions. But when you're kind of stuck in pipes, that's where it goes disastrous. And as you see, Clutch, 2 members, make that 3 members of Optic fall.
And they don't even get a play ball. That ball's still in pipes. SSG will get a setup of their own. Shock rifle in the hands of StelluR. He can't hit the first shot. And everybody a little lazy right now as the pressure continues to build, as this series continues to go a little bit further. StelluR able to get a trade down here to clean up the rest of the damage. Trades across the board, however, and the ball in the hands of Optic as a double kill from Deadzone. Maybe make it a triple. He spots Legend into pipes. He doesn't overchow. He actually threw the ball to his teammates. And look at Lucid and the Optic rotation. This is why they're the best. Moments like this where they somehow now have the ball in blue out of nowhere.
And this is why they also picked up this player, Deadzone, doing so much work right there. Getting crucial kills, getting the play ball, target switching so quick over that player in Needler, just doing so much work to set up his team for this perfect ball rotate.
Such a special talent, and since then, look at what's happened. The shroud from the teammate, appreciate you, bud. I'm gonna get this camo, Formal says. A player drops down bottom double stack. They know Formal has camo somewhere. Big Formal gets the stick, but Eco somehow manages to trade. A big trade from Eco to potentially allow the rest of his team to break this setup. But look, the damage has been done with just that one rotation. A 40-point lead for Optic Gaming.
Yeah, a perfect rotation. We're looking at slays, and it's exactly even, 30 kills apiece. But you look at the scoreboard, and Optic nearly doubling Spacestation scores. So much better objective play and ball efficacy coming out of Optic.
They have done it consistently throughout these tournaments so far this year. Their rotations are nearly flawless, and SSG on the brink of elimination or see it firsthand. Don't have an answer so far here in round 1, but here comes StelluR. 2 down for Optic Gaming. StelluR and SSG are able to get ball in hand. They're going to rotate it towards the long haul. They know Optic Gaming are in pipes. Do they expect Deadzone to spawn elevator? Most likely. This ball carrier making it back to blue to get it into a position where they will be able to play it now under a 20-point game.
Does not get the play. Gets the back smack and the ball grab. StelluR getting a redeeming play ball there that could have been disastrous there because you saw Optic, they weren't going to commit every single player towards back hydro. You want to commit the exact amount of resources towards back hydro, get the kill for the play ball, and then get that new play ball. But there was almost a moment in time there where Optic were going to be able to secure that. Kills across the board, that's 3 down. Lucid, the last one alive, trying to desperately stop this ball rotation, but he's also taking out all 4 down for Optic. They're going to be spawning in the same location. But where?
It was a 40-point lead for Optic Gaming. That lead is now erased. The elevator being bopped over to, or the ball being brought towards the elevator as SSG making a 5-point game. These kills are big, and who better than TriPPPeY to find himself a double? TriPPPeY gets shut down, however. Lucid found himself the camo throughout the chaos. The ball by himself right now. Does he expect Lucid to have this camo? Lucid can't get a quick, clean kill on the bound, and how difficult of a kill can bound be in this situation? Gets Lucid to no shield, but Lucid comes out on top and denies SSG from taking the lead. The game is all tied up.
Lucid dodging those grenades, eventually picks off StelluR there, and he's been doing such a great job holding down this elevator area. It can be a strong position to hold that ball, as you saw from Spacestation earlier, but it can also come back to bite you. It's difficult to play ball in certain cases, and Formal grabbing those last 2 seconds. It's going to be round 1 going for Optic Gaming.
Lucid wins his team round 1 of game 4 with that camo play. But let's talk about the camo prowess from all of Optic. You saw Formal with it, TriPPPeY with it, you saw Lucid with it there at the end. The camo focus for Optic has got to be the big difference there in round 1.
Yeah, the camo focus and the use of camo. We've seen even these top teams some points get camo and not really be as effective as you would hope or expect because these teams are so defensive. They know the routes camo's going to take. You're not slipping past one of these players. They are going to see when you walk in front of them. It's difficult to find really effective routes or how to be the most effective with that camo.
Speaking of being effective with camo, Bound gets the first camo of the second round, much like round 1, but Optic shut him right down. Somehow they spot him out, take him down, 4 down, SSG. It's a triple for Lucid. Eyes on the prize for the oversea plat, but can't quite get the head to line up with the reticle right there. He wanted the O, but he'll take the shock rifle back up and take the Optic early setup here in round 2.
And look at this. They know push coming through long haul, so they're going to try to rotate that ball early. Generally where you know the team is pushing from, if they have 2 or 3 players, you either want to meet that force and kill that force, or you want to run away from it. Optic, in this case, decide to run away from it.
Wow.
You eventually do have to deal with those forces at some point, but you're hoping with the ball rotation that you draw players out in the open, out into unobscure routes. Wow! In that case would not have been over at batteries, but because of that ball rotation by Optic, he goes forced to cut corners and gets his head cut off.
Lucid just had some crazy timing where SSG pushed through pipes. Lucid was in pipes, but no one saw anyone like shits in the night, and somehow Lucid gets a nice flank, does tons of damage to what SSG thought was a broken setup for Optic, but because Lucid hits the shots, he stays strong for Optic Gaming setup, and 31 points is now their lead here in round 2.
And this is looking like a great setup break here for Spacestation. They get TriPPPeY and Lucid both down. They make their push on over, and ball in the hands of Lqgend. Run towards back Hydro. Somehow Optic able to equalize those kills and basically even.
Yeah, they don't get the play ball either. Optic Gaming are able to pick it up. Lqgend gets taken down before he can turn the corner, and that allowed the ball to stay still on the map. TriPPPeY is going to want to play this soon. He's got players in his face, and that's the moment. He's got a stick in his back pocket. He says, take this. He'll take the trade and the play ball as Deadzone is right on top of it for the new rotation.
And as Spacestation think they have a moment to breathe, they think, all right, we got the kill. Let's set for the ball. Deadzone already on that ball pickup and running it back towards hallway.
It's an Optic masterclass in the oddball rotation so far in this game, and that's why they have now close to a 50-point lead to knock SSG out of the tournament.
50-point lead, only 5 kill lead here for Optic. So yes, Optic are outslaying, but they are doing so well with the OBJ. StelluR trying to reduce this gap by a little bit. He's not even very comfortable here. Does not know where the rest of these members are just yet. You see him timidly peeking over towards control, trying to see what angles he can get. He knows the push is likely coming from control side. His teammates have control of gold.
StelluR can't quite hit the shot onto Formal. Formal now with his eyes on StelluR. It's blanks for StelluR as he can't hit the shot, and this setup for SSG will only get them 21 points now. Still down around 30 points, close to it. And Formal with the shock rifle in hand could potentially put SSG to bed.
This is a scary position here for Spacestation. They realize how annoying Optic can be with this ball. Formal getting a pick. Deadzone also getting a slay. 2 down there for Spacestation. Ball time going up for TriPPPeY and Optic.
Lucid, a kill right there. TriPPPeY finds a trade. The ball carrier trading is always a positive thing when you have a numbers advantage. 3 down for SSG in the lead, starting to get out of hand. 65 and climbing the ball, rotating away from the respawners of SSG, and you have to go through Lucid before you get to the ball carrier.
And there's not many pushes you have left from the Spacestation side. You need to get the stop soon. That's one opening right there. 2023 MVP taking out 2022 MVP, but Formal still getting ball time and looking for these spawns over elevator. Realizes nobody's there yet. He's going to rotate this towards elevator. This could be such a difficult spot for Spacestation to get to.
One more push for SSG and their tournament life is over. The ball continuing to move to be annoying. Formal does get shut down. Lqgend cuts off the rotation. Lucid behind Lqgend can't quite finish the kill, gives up his location, and that ball is in a very difficult position for both teams now as it is top catwalk. They're going to try and bring it into blue now that SSG have numbers, but it's still going to be a difficult hold being down by over 60.
But Optic, they're just calm and collect right now. They're not going to be forcing anything. They just realize they just need to get a couple kills, and they can grab those last 12 points. Look how calm he is just finishing that second one-shot. Panic from the SSG side as they realize their tournament life is at stake in these last battles.
SSG's tournament life on the line, and all the pressure starts to go onto Bound's shoulders as the ball neutralized here back blue. He does have StelluR with them. Optic Gaming kind of sell that situation short as they push through the shroud. They die to the grenades, and Spacestation now with the blue setup. How long can they hold? This is the question.
They're making their last stand back here. Keep in mind, Optic, they have to decide how many people do they push back Hydro. The one thing Optic doesn't want to have happen is they don't want to push all 4 members towards back Hydro and then not be in a position for a play ball. There goes 2 down, making all 4 down, and no play ball. No play ball. Grabbing the last few seconds.
He didn't play it. Lucid grabs the ball, and Lucid's going to end SSG here and now in London. The championship whites are out for a reason. Optic Gaming will strike first blood here on a championship Sunday, and they look prime to find themselves in the grand finals.
Optic looking so good. Space Station came out swinging that game number 1. Looking like we're going to see a Space Station Sunday. Optic had other plans in mind. And I know you've heard this before, Wes, but you got to play the ball there.
You got to play it there. I feel for you, SSG. But something about SSG, let's talk about it real quick. We can celebrate Optic in a minute. SSG never seemed to be the SSG we know them to be throughout this weekend. So this series, Dave, was it a surprise how it went? Game 1 gave you hope, but games 2 through 4 really didn't give you the SSG juggernaut team we know to be.
You know, yeah, it did surprise me, mainly on just game 4. I would say every other game, SSG were in it or had their chance.
Winnable.
You know, SSG dominated game 1. Game 2, you know, a Slayer by between 4 kills between the two teams. That can go either way at the highest level. And then game 3, we saw how many of those hills were just so close between these two squads. So it's just this game of inches or centimeters out here between these two squads. Yeah. They are just, you know, especially when you talk about what you'd argue is like the top 3, which you generally look at as Optic, FaZe, and SSG. Those games are decided by minor moments in time. Who won that clutch fight? Who got that clutch play?
Yeah, that one play, that one overextension. It might not even be a play. It might be that one mistake that you made where you weren't impactful in the combat loop this one time. I can't go bottom mid once. It's a difficult loss for SSG, but we know the champs of Arlington will rebound. We will see them all year long, probably in very many grand finals, I would assume, but Optic Gaming are going to move on to the elimination bracket finals. They will wait for the loser of FaZe versus Shopify Rebellion, and that is going to be one banger of a winners bracket finals between those two. How strong they look. 2 3-0s from both of them in the winners semifinals to get there, so I can't be more excited.
I don't even know who I'd want to play on those teams, but I would love to get Formal's thoughts on who he'd like to play out of that winners finals. Blaze, take it away.